listening to an exclusive on PodHub Network. Your city, your podcast.
To the delight of this crowd, McClendon marches down the dugout steps with first base. McCutcheon's throw. The runner breaks to the plate. Here's the throw. Wow. He is out. The Buccos win.
That ball's hit well to left center field. Back toward the track. And that ball is gone.
You are listening to the North Shore 9 podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, make sure to watch NS9LIVE every Thursday on Twitch and help support by becoming a patron. Let's go Bucks!
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9LIVE. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Tyler. We have no Jim tonight, so that means we have a great show coming for you guys. How's it going, Tyler?
We are slim on gyms.
It's a Slim Jim. Yes, nice. I like it. Slim Jims are good,
They're elite.
but I don't think I've ate one in like 5 years.
meat. I think I had one last week.
Really? And cheese? Did you have some cheese with it?
No.
Didn't
Just
they
straight
come in
Slim
a?
Jim, dude?
Didn't they just come in like a pack? It was like a Slim Jim on one side and like a block of cheese on the other. Yeah.
Well, those might have been the Jack Links.
Oh, okay.
I think Slim Jim did them too.
They
I
were
love
such
Slim
an
Jims.
elite. Like I think I used to tear those things up in elementary,
Oh,
middle
yeah,
school, and high school.
Get like the little box of them. That has
Uh-huh.
like 16 for a buck.
16 for a buck. That's how you know it's good stuff, man.
Every time I go to the grocery store, they're always in the aisle, and I always get one.
For real?
Oh yeah, I love Slim Jims.
Interesting.
Also,
I don't think
pretty much
we're
any
showing
processed
up
meat, I'm in.
live on Twitter right now. So,
All right, good job, producer.
No, this thing's changed itself since Periscope's like officially done. You had to update Twitter, which I did, but it's not there.
I
So,
do not see it either.
but regardless, who cares? We got this on the podcast. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube as well. If you're listening and want to watch the show, well, hopefully next time we're on, you'll see us on Twitter. And if not, you can follow us on YouTube and Twitch. Which actually,
So
if
I
you go
guess
right
we're going back
to the website.
Are we going
Good
back
North
to the
Shore.
old school podcasting days, basically?
Yeah, basically. But yeah, if you go right to our website, northshore9.com, we have our live feed on the main page as well. So let me go there and see if we're streaming at all. This is great content, though. We are, so that's good. But anyways, so back to the
Why
actual
don't
show.
you take that link and share it on Twitter?
Okay, Tyler.
It was just a recommendation.
We'll carry the show for a little bit here while I do that.
Okay, that's pretty easy right now because Pirates lost again.
Yes, they did.
Blew a 6-0 lead. And let me just tell you right now, I love baseball. I love the Pirates. I am so done with this season. I'm so incredibly done watching this team. And imagine how someone feels that isn't a huge baseball fan. Truthfully, if we didn't have this podcast, I would not watch this team right now. I'd find better things to do.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I can fully understand where you're coming from. Like if I was just a casual fan. Oh. Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Oh, sweet.
I feel you, you know, I mean, obviously football's on, there's competition, even though it's a Thursday night game and these teams are terrible and Christian McCaffrey's out for the year, possibly again.
Yeah.
There's no point of watching Thursday night football right now at this point in time. So you could actually watch North Shore 9, but I might be doing that just because it's new. It's back. You know what I mean? Like football's back. Even though I might be more of a baseball fan and a Pirates fan in that sense, I might say, well, you know what? Who cares about the team right now? Football's on. Let me just watch this. Or I literally could do anything else right now. It's a Thursday night, you know. So like as a casual fan, yeah, like there's really not a point to watch the next 10 games. So I fully get where you're coming from.
There hasn't been a point to watch this team in over a month. Like we have Connor Overton pitching 2 innings.
Yeah. as like an analysis standpoint, there really also isn't a whole lot more that I feel that we can capture from these next two games to really gauge anything. Like, I guess I still would like to see, obviously, like Yoshi finish out the season still going, right? Like, you want to see some things in that sense, but I don't think it's going to change it. Like, for the next 10 games, if he struggled, I think my mind's kind of made up on Yoshi. It's still unknown, but I'm very intrigued. You know, even like all the pitchers, even like Dylan Peters in that sense. Like, for the most part, with everyone, I think it's pretty much wrapped up, which you'll kind of get that vibe on this show tonight when we're talking about Ben Cherington's year-end review. And because the season ain't over, but it basically is.
Right. But I'm just at a point. I want this season to end. I'm so tired of having to watch this team. And if this team was good, I would love to watch them right now. But they are painful to watch, which brings me back to the point that we've been saying. They've got to get better next year. We can't be tuning out in July.
Now, albeit
again,
I will say, I mean, so something that's a little bit intriguing about this team. It's almost like two sides can still be true. I don't know. The season's a wash, right? Like, there isn't much of a point to really watch it. We've kind of gathered all the information we need heading into next year, right? But what I will say is the Pirates have found some way to be somewhat competitive, like to end this year. Like, I understand tonight they lost 6, or they had a 6-0 lead, and they blew that and lost 10-6, right? I mean, you thought at first the Pirates were actually going to do something against these Phillies and be kind of interesting, right? The Phillies in this playoff hunt and such. And they don't succeed in that. So they blow the lead in fantastic fashion. But if memory serves me right, they've won the last 4 series. And I think they've won 6 out of the last 8. And one of those being a tie against the Cardinals, which was a 4-game series. So, and this doesn't count the Reds series, air quotes, which was the last series because one was delayed. That hasn't completed, but that was tied as well. So, like, interesting enough, for the past, like, in September, they haven't been a terrible baseball team. All in all, they've certainly shown glimpses of terrible baseball. But all in all, record shows they've been competitive.
Sure, but they're still on pace to lose 100 games.
What's that?
They're still on pace to lose 100 games.
Also, maybe semi-intriguing here. If you're looking for the small victories, although with tonight's loss, that might seal it. Philly's a better team. But they do play the Reds again. They could potentially not lose 100 games.
There's a possibility they do not lose 100 games. But still, this team has been incredibly hard to watch for the last probably, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we've said it so many times that they have to get better
so
next
like
year.
Season.
Pretty much. Well, we had like a okay first month.
Yeah.
They have to do something this offseason to at least show any sort of improvement. Or we've got to see a bunch of young guys, because that's another problem right now. We're not seeing the future either. This is a full-on, like, crappy team.
So it's
not young guys finding their way.
Yeah, we've, I think, made that point pretty clear that, yes, this team does have to improve next year. Like, I know we could go so many roads right now. We have a lot of offseason to do that. But just to sum up some things, of course, tonight being the 8-year anniversary where the Pirates locked up the first playoffs, right? When you compare, like, there's been a lot of comparisons, like, this is 2011, right? So, like, in a few years, the team could be like a 13 team and such. Well,
this is 2010.
What I want to say is, I mean, everything in the vacuum, like, you can't put everything in a vacuum and compare everything to what it is. What I do think the Pirates have on their side an advantage right now compared to back then, right, in 10 and 11, is the fact that you just see clearly, like, this division is nowhere near the competition it was back then, right? Like, there's a clear path that the Pirates could become a much better quality team in this division quickly. right? So I think like they have to capitalize on that, which is why they need to improve this year. We've kind of hammered that. So that's part of it. Number two is just the fact that like you are correct. Like, I mean, you don't want to do things for fans. And I know that sounds ass backwards, but you don't do things for fans. You do things for what's best for the organization, right? I'm not going to go out there and just say, well, the fans deserve to have a better player out here if it's not the right move to what your end game is, which is a championship, right? Don't do things just to do things. It's got to make sense. But I think you can go ahead and place a better quality team next year and still achieve that end goal.
Yeah, and I think we've been through it a million times. There are going to be free agents out there that can be had pretty cheap to shore up some spots. And the other reason you mentioned not wanting to do it for the fans, how about doing it for Brian Reynolds and Brian Hayes? Or else they're just going to end up in a lull of bad baseball. And we are wasting their prime years.
Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to cover in that sense. The other thing I guess is, and this isn't like dunking and throwing shade or anything, but like there's been the other reason we need to get good, right, and have a good season is I think when you and I were on the show together without Jim that last time, we talked about how we're bored as fans, and it's showing. Yeah. And like Pirates Twitter this past week has just like collapsed again. Everyone's turning on each other. Everyone's saying, stuff. Somehow or another, I'm left out of it. Very non-NS9 like, but there's been some like next year's going to be real exciting, and this is going to be great, and that's where I'm just like, pump the brakes. I don't like. I'm not excited for next year and what the lineup rotation, like roster will be. I don't look at next year and think that's going to be an exciting year. But what I will say is what next year does present, right? Just like you said tonight, the thing that's hard to watch is there's nothing on this team for the future. It's just players. It's a group of players that you're not going to be seeing when this team's winning again. What will be exciting next year is the fact that I'm excited to see Roansy Contreras in the rotation. I'm excited to see Cruz get his call up. I'm excited to see these players come up there. But those players up there next year with the people that are still surrounded isn't exciting at all. Like that team's not going to be exciting next year. No. It's still going to be a drag. It's still going to be wait till 2023. That's the year I feel like there could be some actual excitement. I'm excited for things next year, but I don't think next year is going to be exciting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you look at next year, that crop of the guys in AA are finally going to be ready to start trickling into the major leagues.
Let me correct you, Tyler. That crop in AAA now.
That crop in AAA now, led by Marcano. The guy that's going to open up in right field next year.
Stop.
Also, Diego Castillo opening up a shortstop. Michael Chavis at second base. Yoshi in left field.
It's
very exciting. Very, very exciting start to the year. But in all seriousness, the pitching's what can be exciting next year, I think.
Really?
Contreras, you hurry. Hopefully you get a fresh Mitch Keller, which I'm not counting on. But then you throw Keller, Wilson, Contreras, you hurry. Those are four young guys right off the bat. We're not watching Dylan Peters.
Well, maybe.
We probably will be watching Dylan Peters.
Well, first off, just not to say you're wrong by any means, but let's be honest. Contreras isn't going to be in the rotation at the beginning of the year. He will be up
mid-year,
but he won't be. So there's another placeholder that will be there at first. That's where like Peters could be, if it is Peters. By all means, it still probably isn't Peters. Let's just put it. It better not be. It better not be Peters. Does that make sense? That's where the upgrades come in. Like that's where Cherington needs to come in and improve the club. Like, don't settle for repeaters. Go out there and get some type of free agent who could potentially lead you to the year after, like a multi-year deal. Might start building some legs on this rotation with.
I mean, for God's sake, just get a guy that can eat a few innings. Like,
Or
we need
another
a guy
Tyler
that can
Anderson.
throw 100. They desperately need a guy that can throw 150.
Yeah.
So that they don't have to rush a Contreras, or they don't have to pick up a Connor Overton, whoever that is, to go through 2.2 innings.
True. And on the other end, let's also understand this organization was extremely lucky. Still, let me find some wood. Season's not over, but extremely lucky in their health for the pitching. Can't bank on that next year.
I mean, they should be. Nobody's thrown over like 30 innings.
Still,
because no one can last 3 innings.
True.
It's tough. Next year has to be better, right?
I just think due to natural progression, it will be. I just want to find out how much better, To me, there's got to be a little more of a leap and a bound opposed to just stay the course, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where the teardown is complete.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing more to tear down. Now we start to build the foundation, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll put it this way. I think the foundation's built. All in all, I think the foundation's here.
It's shaky.
It's that's definitely debatable. That's debatable.
There are a few cracks in that foundation.
I'll put it this way. There's a lot of bricks. Just maybe not a whole lot of mortar. Is that fair enough? There's a lot of bricks to this foundation.
I don't know. There might be a lot more mortar than bricks because they can go anywhere, but I don't know if they're solid.
Either or, it's not. It may not be balanced in that sense. But no, I'll say this. Like I said, like there's definitely a foundation. We look back a year ago. This farm was depleted. Like there was nothing here. We can and we will on the show in a bit here debate and talk about the foundation in a sense. But I can say there at least is a foundation. Like to me, there's a system in place. Still got to build upon it. But like you said, you're building now. The teardown's done. You've gotten a foundation. Let's start putting it together and then find out what pieces you need. You might need a couple slabs of concrete. Go out there and get it. Right. But I think the foundation is here.
It's in the organization, but there's a lot of question marks, which we'll get to.
Sure. So I guess that pretty much sums up. Like I said, there's been I love Twitter. I've actually been away from it quite a bit recently. I've been quite preoccupied with other things. Trying to do a lot right now. Burning the candle on both ends. But yeah, I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit on the optimism, a little bit on the excitement part. There's things that will be exciting, but overall, I'm not excited. And from there, I guess we can move on. I think the show is mainly going to be about Cherington. Again, I understand we're a couple weeks premature, but this season's basically over. There's not going to be any more moves that are being made. So I think you and I can more or less sum up the year-end review of Ben Cherington, talk about the moves he made and such, and kind of give individual and like an overall grade.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair. Last year we didn't really do that. Last year wasn't too fair to him as well because Nutting and Brass decided to make all the moves way too late, and I think he was put at a disadvantage. And then we had the crazy year, so won't really lump that much into this year as well. We'll make this year alone, but let's start it off. So I guess things really kicked off with the Joe Musgrove trade, right? No, I'm sorry, with the Josh Bell trade. I did it again.
Josh Bell.
The Josh Bell trade. We had our emergency podcast. I think was that you and I and No Jim again?
It was me and you. Yep.
Wow.
I think Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve.
Jim, just so undependable.
Not great.
Not great.
And
Not great.
and
Jim, the Will Crow of North Shore 9.
and from what I remember, we pretty much panned that trade.
Wait,
It
what's
was
that?
not a very
Oh.
we panned that trade. It was not very upbeat.
No. I think we both could agree that we both were down on Josh Bell. We didn't feel there was a whole lot of
Absolutely.
value in Josh Bell, right? That's fair. We weren't expecting a lot in return. But yes, at the time, I mean, Will Crow, really? Eddie Yean was the intriguing piece. So to us, it was that. It's like it's Eddie Yean or bust.
Yeah. Will Crow has essentially shown he doesn't belong in the major leagues. Maybe in a reliever role, but not in any high-end role. He's just a guy.
I fully believe that. I think that was kind of where we gauged him when we talked about it. There wasn't a whole lot of intrigue. Not like there's nothing intriguing about him.
Nothing.
It was
Eddie Yean?
odd. You and I both at one point were intrigued. I stayed on the intrigue train a little longer than you did. A lot longer, which still wasn't long. You fell off pretty quickly. He just had this weird season until like it just completely fell apart, and like he kind of showed what he is.
He had that velo bump,
right?
that maybe made you think he could do something in the bullpen. But going back to our original reaction, I think we're pretty much where we're at now, where it was Will Crow, yuck. Eddie Yean, we wanted 2 Eddie Yeans.
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of thought too. Like, why even Will Crow?
Yeah.
Albeit, I said that to Kyle Crick. You know, when the Kutch trade was made, I said, why even bother with Kyle Crick? So I was hoping I was going to be wrong in that same manner. We weren't.
Were you really wrong on that, though?
Well, we were,
Kyle Crick
because
had one
he
good year.
actually did produce. I mean, it didn't last long, but
I guess.
he wasn't. I mean, it didn't benefit the Pirates in any manner. Like, they weren't winning with him, and then they couldn't trade him off for anything. So I guess theoretically, it didn't provide anything. But he was actually a really good reliever at one point, where it made you think, okay, not too bad. But
Also,
yes,
as I've said before, possibly an asshole.
I feel like absolutely.
He did beat up a pedophile. So,
yeah,
notch in his belt. But also possibly an asshole.
yeah,
Because there is no other reason to release or to DFA him.
But also think about this. I know he gets a lot of love for doing that, right? But at the time, which we're led to believe, it wasn't known that he was a pedophile. So he really just punched a guy.
Yeah, because the music was too loud.
Because the music. Right. Get off my lawn.
And didn't he also, real quick, that 18 team, that was a freaking nightmare. Keone Kela.
You had to say nightmare.
Getting into it.
You had to
with
say nightmare.
Oof. Kela getting into it with whatever the psychiatrist dude or the bullpen coach, and Kyle Crick gets into it with someone other than Felipe. That team was all over the place.
But think about it, like Kela also was never. But
Kela took like a week to get here.
Oddly enough, and maybe it's just because I don't know. Oddly enough, most closers aren't right in the mind. Right? Let's put it that way. Most aren't.
Go back to Jason Grilli. He thought he was Jesus.
Most aren't right in the mind. So, like with the whole Kela situation, for some reason, I wasn't turned off by it. He's an interesting dude. Put it that way. He's an interesting dude.
Interesting, yes.
But he performed. Crick was performing as well. But I feel like the difference is Kela just has his issues. But it seemed as if the team responds well with him. Like he had great interactions with the club. Maybe not that particular person that was not like a player, but it seemed like the players respect him. And think about this too. Like he's the first one out there fighting the Cincinnati Reds. You know, like, so that I liked about him.
Telling Joey Votto he can get it too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the fact that you said like Crick being released tells me that that might not have been the case. And again, he was literally fighting players. Raquel was fighting
Coaches.
coach.
Or
Exactly.
whatever he was.
Yeah, because I can't remember it either. Was it the actual
I think
bullpen
Crick
coach?
also got into it. No, it was the like sports performance, whatever
Yeah.
fake rule they made up. Okay, thing. I don't know.
Sure. Anyways,
But I'm pretty sure Crick got into it with bullpen coach.
I think so,
Diego something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot going on that year.
But let's move on. We were talking about Musgrove, and now we've talked an hour about Kellen Crick. So
It happens.
geez, we're talking about Josh Bell. I did that again too. Yeah. So Will Crow, to me, if he's going to have any type of role, it's probably like the last man in the bullpen. I feel like he can still have like a multi-inning type of role, which probably will still be 40 pitches, but it's almost that hybrid. Like, I don't even want to put him like what Dwayne Underwood was doing, because like Stratton, because those are good pitchers. More like, I guess, mop up duty.
He's a dime a dozen.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like that's going to be his role, if there is one. Like you said, he's not going to be a high leverage bullpen guy. He's not a starter. He's just going to be a guy in the bullpen till he's not.
There are a billion right-handed pitchers that throw 95 with below average to average breaking stuff.
True. So the other person, right, Eddie Yean, was involved. He had definitely a lot of intrigue. Like we said, I'd rather have, instead of Will Crow, just give me another Eddie Yean. Give me some
Right.
high risk, high reward type of prospect, because Will Crow ain't it. Well, Eddie Yean didn't have the greatest of seasons this year either. Now, not to write him off by any means, right? But this trade right now, as it appears, I mean, how would you grade it?
What kind of grading scale are we? You know what kind of grading scale do we want to do? Do we want to do like A, B, C, D, F? Do we want to do like 1 through 10 with decimals?
I was gonna say, don't, as much as it's baseball, don't give me like the 2080. I'm not grading these on that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either.
Honestly, let's just go straight A through F. Just make it simple. Right. We talked about Slim Jims in high school. Make this like you're getting your test in high school too.
You know what? I'm gonna give it like a C minus.
Yeah,
because Eddie Yean's still young enough that there's something there, and Josh Bell didn't have a good year. It's not like they are missing him.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think there could have been more to get for him. But at this point, it looks like they got nothing for him.
Yeah. I'm going to give it just a flat, straight C. The reason I do that, so I still want to bring up, I don't like the argument of like finding out what a player did afterwards too much. It's not like, well, he stunk, so now things are better. You know, it's at the time of the trade, but what we didn't really have, and that's the thing too, with a lot of these trades, we gave our reactions to them, but we didn't really have a whole lot to go off of, you know? So a lot of our reactions were very incomplete because there was no minor league season last year. So this year really is the first that we're seeing a lot of these players, and that's why we're kind of having this talk and such. So again, I give it a flat C because I just, what was the going rate for a Josh Bell? I mean, the Nationals literally couldn't even trade him this deadline, you know? And this year was a lot better than his last year. Like, he was actually, not that he's having a great season by any means, but it was a lot better than last year, you know? And I think, you know, that kind of says a lot. Like, the Nationals couldn't even trade him at the deadline. So I don't foresee there was a whole lot of Josh Bell hype. You know, let's go get Josh Bell and we'll give him whatever. It's just a flat C. You know, that's the thing with an Eddie Yean. He's either going to be possibly, you know, a player in the MLB or not at all. There's a good chance that he's not. It might not be. He's like, the way he pitched this year kind of tracks and projects that might be the case. He just walks way too many people. That's what you're getting in Josh Bell. You're going to take that flyer.
Mm-hmm.
They did. Right now, it's not working out too well, but it's not like I'm going to fault them for doing it. That's what you want to get. I give it a flat C, just because, again, to me, it's like the Will Crow. It's just why. Just get another Eddie Gein.
Yeah. Give me some guy in rookie ball.
That's it.
I'll take him over Will Crow. I can sign a Will Crow on the street.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a C-. I got a C. Now can we move on to Joe Musgrove?
We can.
As I say, Josh. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Next deal, Joe Musgrove. This was interesting. So I kind of recall the night it even happened. I was sitting on the couch.
I was sitting in the bar.
Of course. The deal comes through.
Our group text was going wild.
It was lit. And because things just kept coming out, and it was the Padres, it was the Pirates, Joe Musgrove's involved. Then it comes out that like 5 people were involved. Lucchese's involved in it. And then
he's come to the Pirates.
We were excited for that, were we not?
Isn't it Lucchese?
Yeah, but whatever.
You're Italian.
So
figure it out.
Figure it out. He was coming in, and again, like I excited in the sense of that could be a nice rebound case. Like that's a perfect fit for the Pirates.
Was fully with you.
Get him right, trade him at the deadline or such, right? And then shortly after,
from what Musgrove had shown, Lucchese was result-wise at that point pretty similar.
Result-wise, yes.
Was there more to be had with Musgrove? Absolutely, as we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it was kind of like, well, they could possibly be getting a guy that will put up Musgrove-like numbers for the Pirates.
Very, very.
And then that all went out the window about 3 minutes later.
Right. All out the window, because then it's like, well, there's a third team involved. We didn't know if it's a separate trade. It's like a 3-team trade or whatever. The Mets come in, and it's like, well, the Mets got Lucchese. And we're just like, well, what the hell?
We got some scrub catcher.
Yeah. Like we were excited about Lucchese. Like this is great. You know, he slides in where Musgrove is. There's some potential to him. Like there's stuff. So result wise, like you said, they were similar in results. You found and felt there was a lot more to Musgrove, but it's not as if you didn't think there's also maybe more to Lucchese. Like I found him intriguing. And yeah, it's out the window. Like this is the look. What are you doing, Cherington? This is the guy.
And now we
that
get
you
a
want.
20-year-old catcher that's in like low A ball that hasn't hit.
Right. So at the time, when it all settles, right, you find out that there's some pieces. So Hudson had highlighted it. Very high risk, high reward type player. There was David Bednar, who, that's what you asked, who? Like at the time, like this guy, like,
do we really want another reliever?
Right? Omar Cruz, Drake Fellows, and then of course, now you put it all together. Andy Rodriguez is involved in there for Musgrove. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I'm going to be honest. I don't like this trade. I still don't. Truthfully, I think the one saving grace could be Rodriguez, which, going back to our original thought, oh, why did we get another crappy catcher?
Yeah.
I'm not high on Hudson Head. Drake Fellows is just a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Omar Cruz, there's some that like him more than others. I don't like him.
No.
So at this point, it's kind of like it's on Rodriguez. And from what we've seen from Musgrove, it's almost Cherington probably pulled the trigger too soon on this one. And not to mention, the rumor comes out that he wanted Marcano in that trade too, which, dear Lord.
Instead of who? We'll hold off. We'll hold off. We'll have plenty to talk later about Marcano. But yes, that is the rumor. He was, wanted in that trade as well, which is why in the trade later we talk about that he was dealt. You know, at the time of the trade, I think what we were grasping is we're starting to see this seems like a lot of quality. I'm sorry, not quality. It seems like a lot of quantity, right? Quantity.
But it was higher upside.
Yes.
Quantity.
We were starting
rather than what we had seen from Huntington, where it was closer to the majors.
Right.
It was lower level, but there are a lot of warts with these guys.
Yep. The Marte trade already happened. Again, we won't go too deep detail with it, but when the Marte trade happened, I was also kind of sour on it as well. I felt like you could probably get a top 100 prospect. You got two guys, weren't really there yet, right? But they had some upside. We just talked about Josh Bell, Eddie Gein had the upside. Now Joe Musgrove's here. So we're starting to see maybe this Cherington picture develop in front of our eyes. Quantity, right? Get as many guys in this system that have the tools, make or break. They're riskier prospects. They're farther away, but that's why you can get 5 of them, because it's not the one guy who's in AAA right now raking, right? You get 5 guys and see what can turn out. At the time of the deal, Hudson Head was intriguing, but he's worried. He's worrisome. Again, we talked about Bednar, who, Fellows, Cruz, and of course, Enny Rodriguez, which, and again, like we preface this, there was a whole lost season, so it's hard to really gauge a lot. But now, fast forward, I'm very much on the same page you are, I guess. I almost, to the degree, I mean, we'll let him continue and let him develop, but I'm almost writing off Hudson Head. I don't expect him to be a Pirate.
I'm with you.
I think it's cool that, again, it seems like his approach has changed. He's getting on base a lot, but I don't believe, now again, he could still develop. He's still young. He's still raw to a degree, but I'm almost writing him off. I almost feel like he'd be better served as a trade chip. Let someone else believe in him and get someone in the majors that's at least halfway decent. Get a number 4 or 5 starter, get a reliever, you know what I mean? Solid up that that foundation here in a year or so.
Yeah, with Hudson Head, it's almost one of those situations where everyone falls in love with all the tools he has, but nobody really asks the question, can the guy hit? And right now he has shown he cannot hit.
Right.
So what are we doing here? He's got tools. He does. He can get on base, but he can't hit. At this point, he cannot hit. It's like watching Bubba Starling. Everyone loves the tools. Guess what? He's not a good baseball player.
Right. Although Bubba Starling made the majors eventually. It seemed as if it was 2 decades.
Hudson Head probably will too, but
I don't know.
Long trip.
I don't know. But
or an Anthony Alford where everyone loves the tools.
As it's funny. That's literally what I was going to say here when I stopped. Though I was going to say, he's like the Hudson. He's like the Anthony Alford of the minor leagues. But I stopped because, you know what though?
Alford hit the minors.
Yeah, and
a little bit.
They're a little bit different, but you're right. That's kind of like the mold. They're both toolsy, but it just doesn't come together. They're not a good baseball player.
Yeah.
So I almost write him off. Bednar's been, a great find and a great surprise. He has looked excellent, and again, to go back when you saw that very first curveball in spring training, and everyone fell in love with him. Now you fast forward to the end of the year, which he's pretty much done, right? He's not going to play again, so you wrap up a season. It was fantastic. I fully believe he, at this point in time, is a closer of the future. We found him. Cool.
Woo.
But right.
Found plenty of those.
That alone isn't worth Musgrove. Omar Cruz, he kind of
intrigued.
He's a guy. I don't hate him. I don't love him, but he's definitely a guy. He could provide depth at some point. He's had a good season, he had a fine season in AA. Wasn't sexy, but it wasn't bad. Again, Joe Musgrove. I think we all saw this season coming.
Yeah.
Maybe not the no hitter. You know, like
Yeah.
like was that the very first week? Was that his first or second start? I forget
It
now.
was maybe a second or third.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, that didn't help anything. Like right away, you see no hitter, you're just like, oh God, here we go again. But I think we all felt and saw this coming from him.
Yeah. It did feel like Garrett Cole all over, where it was like, no matter what happens, he's going to go dominate.
Andy Rodriguez has been a nice surprise. I'll say that with him too. It's been nice. I don't know if he's going to be the catcher, but again, that's one thing. Now, of course, we talked about how Cherington goes. He doesn't have to be. You know, Cherington's looking for guys at the middle. He could end up being the first baseman. He could end up being an outfielder, whatever. He could be the catcher. What I do find is there's a bit of intrigue with him. He's had actually a really good season. So, all in all, how do you grade this trade?
I'm just looking up Musgrove season so far just to rub it in my face a little more.
It's
3.15 ERA.
Got a
Yeah,
3
looks about
WAR.
right. Yeah. I'll probably give this one a D+. Just because I think everyone knew that it probably wasn't the best time to trade Musgrove unless you get an absolute haul, and they did not get an absolute haul.
Yeah.
Almost like the Tyon thing, what we were talking about whenever Tyon was traded, where we felt like it was too soon because he could bounce back. But we'll get to that one. And I feel like that trade was more fitting.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I'll say about Cherington is he was in a tough position. Who to keep, when to trade, the timing, the weird years. When are you going to actually kick off this rebuild? Like, how many guys are going to hang on to? You know, there's a lot of risk involved. You know, so I don't want to try to harp on him too much about he held on to this guy too long. He didn't, trade this guy quick enough. There's really one guy I felt that if you're going to keep, this was the one that you were going to keep. Like it was Musgrove. Because I deep down believed you were going to see this type of Musgrove. And you saw it. Could have went to this year. And here's the thing. Think about the haul Joe Musgrove could have got at this deadline. I got to give this, I'll go a little bit easier than you. Maybe almost an easier grade. I'll go with C- on this. I'm not too pleased with it. Yes, Musgrove had a great season. But again, not just so much that, it's just the fact that I don't believe in Hudson Head. He was the headline of the package. I don't believe he's going to be a major leaguer.
Headline.
And I didn't even mean to say that. Andy Rodriguez, I'm with you that I feel like Andy Rodriguez kind of holds us together. If he pans out to be good, this will make this easier. But I truly believe it's Bednar and hopefully Rodriguez. If, as much as I talk about Cruz, if he pans out, he's going to be like a role player to me, at best. He'll be a guy.
Yeah.
He could be a reliever. Maybe he's like a fifth starter or something, but I don't think he's going to give much production in that sense of the Musgrove trade. This was all right because of Cruz, So I think a lot hangs on Andy Rodriguez at this point to make that deal work out. Bednar's great. He's a closer, but you don't trade Joe Musgrove for a closer.
Absolutely. We'll be able to tell more next year on this one with Hudson Head being so young.
Mm-hmm.
If he has another season like this goes to a D-.
Yeah. And maybe again, that might be why it's a C- for me. I'm a little bit, because there's still a lot of undefined in this. But I would, if I had to put money, I would put money that Hudson Head doesn't even reach the majors opposed to reaches it.
I would be with you.
So again, to me, I'm writing him off. He has all the tools and he'll still be on the prospect lists for that. But I don't believe in Hudson Head as a baseball player. All right, so D+, C- for me. So far, the first two trades for Ben Cherington is tenure.
Not great.
C- and a C, D+ and a C-. So he's basically hovering around a C- right now.
Yeah.
Excellent. What's that? What's that quote? Not great. What is it?
I have no idea.
Not great. Oh God, I forget. All right. Let's brighten this up a little bit. All right.
Was Tyon next?
So the next trade is Jamison Tyon. We had, I believe, Matt Geika on the show.
Mm-hmm.
When I presented to him, because I started thinking about this, you know, I think for the most part, we all felt like you bring Tyon into the season.
Mm-hmm.
You capitalize on that. You know, like right now, who's going to trade for Tyon? 2 Tommy Johns, hasn't pitched in how long? You just go into the season. And I brought up the question to Geika and said, do you maybe just take the pennies on the dollar right now to get something? You might backfire, but you could literally get nothing out of him because he can't pitch. Do you take pennies on the dollar and do it now? Well, Cherington did it now, but it wasn't for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. I think we were all on the same page when this trade happened. We thought this was a far better deal than Musgrove.
Yeah. How?
And looking back at it, if you're the Yankees, wouldn't you want Musgrove?
Yeah.
Like, Tyon has not pitched poorly. I mean, he's been okay.
He has. The long ball has killed him, but it's Yankee Stadium.
It's
honestly,
Yankee,
like when you take out the home runs, he actually has been a really good pitcher. If he just wasn't giving up, I think close to 2 home runs per 9.
Yeah, and New York's going to eat him alive.
Right.
For having a 4 ERA and a whatever. But it's weird looking back, and the Yankees were probably had the choice between going after Musgrove or Tyon, and they probably went after Tyon thinking it would be a cheaper return, or they would give up less. Yeah, that didn't work out because right now that's the deal that probably has been Ben saving grace at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. This
you
deal,
look at Contreras, everyone still is high enough on Yahuri, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That could change.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, I'm drawing a blank on what else they got.
Well, they got Kanan Smith, and then
I actually do like Smith a lot.
Yep.
Also, his brother's a Buckeye wide receiver.
Yeah. We know.
Just pointing that out.
Yeah. Okay, Tyler.
But he got a guy. I mean, I can't complain about this trade.
Oh, I mean,
he got
if you
a
did,
top.
you got nuts.
I mean, Contreras turned into probably a top 5 prospect for the Pirates. Yahuri looks like he's going to be in the rotation next year, and everything that he's shown looks like he can pitch at a major league level. Kanan Smith seems to have an okay bat. Maybe could be a bench player at worst.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly could slide into a corner outfield role. And Escato doesn't look terrible. So
he's young and middle infielder with pop. You know, that's intriguing stuff.
Yeah.
That far away, you know, that's kind of what you want. And
right.
What I found funny is at the time of the trade, when we kind of really sat down and looked at it, which, and again, all these things, I'll tell you where I was in Key West when this actually happened. I was driving home from Key West. So I didn't really even have the time to like actually sit down and look at it. And it was killing me because I'm like, Tyler was just traded to the Yankees for like 1,000 players and I don't know any of them. And what did we get? I don't know. So, but yeah, like at the time of the trade, it was almost like, wow, for Tyler, for all the same reasons I said, would you trade him now and not to the season? Because you don't know what you're getting out of Jamison Tyler. His second Tommy John, he hasn't pitched, and you're trading this package for a complete unknown. It was shocking. You know, I was talking about, do you take pennies on the dollar? They got $2 on the dollar in my mind. And
as of now,
and that's with a good Jamison Tyler. Still quite unknowns, but now when you fast forward to prospect rankings and see what these guys are, and that's the thing too, like Yahuri was the headline. Look what Contreras has turned into. To understand that you traded Joe Musgrove, you traded Josh Bell, you traded Rich Rod, you traded Adam Frazier, you traded Starling Marte the year before. All these players that you traded, the best prospect so far that you've gotten out of that came from a guy who hadn't pitched in 2 years and had his second Tommy John.
And that guy was kind of a throw-in.
Right. Now, regardless if he was or not, but still, like, that is your best prospect. And it's not a slight. He's good.
No.
But it came from Jameson Taillon.
And he's not in, like, low A ball.
No. Well, I guess, theoretically he was at the time. But now, hey, he's a AAA player now, Tyler.
That he is. I was just trying to look at Escoto's stats this year.
At the time of the deal, I thought it was good. When spring training came, Tyler, you got even more hype around it.
And then whenever Yahuri debuted, and he didn't get the results we were probably hoping for, but it was encouraging.
He looked the part. There was a lot of stuff you liked about it. He was the anti
Mitch Keller.
Yeah, but also what's his face was, and he turned out being very, very terrible. The Rule 5 pick.
Which one?
Right. The original one that didn't start on the IL originally. God. Anyways.
Which one?
Yeah. So
Oviedo.
Yes, Oviedo. Sorry.
Okay. Or Soriano.
We had that same vibe about Oviedo.
God.
He looked the part his first start.
He did. I still am encouraged by him.
He is.
I still have hope.
I am too, but definitely way more I have way more in your hurry. So at the time of the trade, cool. But now you look back and I'm just like, this is great.
Yeah, this is Ben Cherington's best work to date, I think.
What would you grade this then?
I think I'm just going to give this a B. Just because Yahuri so here's where I'm at with Yahuri. I love him. The velocity does scare me a hair.
Okay.
The fact that he sits around 89, 90 doesn't really enthuse me. And I need to see just a hair more out of Ronesy to bump that bad boy up. But if he pitches well in AAA, this bad boy is going to an A.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I'm going straight A to begin, like off the bat, like right now.
That's fair.
I'm going straight A. I know
it probably could be an A because even if Yahuri turns into a number 4, number 5 starter with a 4 ERA, that's what Taillon was giving you.
Mm-hmm.
With 4 more years of control.
But
I mean, for the most part, he was around 4. And then you throw Contreras in. And I do believe in Canan Smith. So
yeah, I guess
I could see it be maybe a B+ for me.
I'm going straight A on this. And again, I don't know if I'm cheating on here. I don't know if like this is right to do it because I talked about like, how players perform afterwards and such. But the reason I'm giving it is the fact that it was done before the season even started. Like that's why it's a full A because he took all the risk out.
Damn it. He took damaged goods.
Right. He could have risked it, went into the season. Taillon turned into a pumpkin. He just unfortunately couldn't pitch and you get nothing. So he hit it. He's like, I'm not even going to let this get to that point. And he pulled this off. So that in itself to me is like bonus points, right? I put the question on the chalkboard as a bonus question, and Cherington got that right. So that's why it goes from the B+ to the A. The deal that's in itself, though, Taillon is good. Okay, so like, give that to him. He did perform well. So when you look at it in that aspect, Taillon is a good quality pitcher still with the New York Yankees. This deal with that still outperforms what he's doing there. And the package in itself, we'll find out how they turn out. But like, if you're telling me right now that the Pirates have a top 100 prospect, and a guy who's in the majors who could produce, and then these two other guys in Smith and Escotto who are intriguing. They're still young, but let's find out. To me, more Escotto than Smith. But there's still room to grow with this deal. Like there's some certainty there, and then there's also some room to grow. In 2 years, we might be talking about like Escotto.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it is that we can't judge this trade on Taillon's performance in New York, mainly because we don't know. There's a good chance he wouldn't have performed like this in Pittsburgh. Like, how many guys have we seen go elsewhere and perform better?
I know. So
that's why I'm
part of that.
What I'm saying is that I agree with you that I don't want to judge it based upon what they did after, because of the changes that they did or change scenery, whatever it could be. But also, there's the whole Taillon having a like shredded elbow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he completely revamped his delivery, and that was with the Pirates. He was doing that.
Yeah, you're right. But still, that's why I don't want to look at it too deep into what they're doing after, because the Pirates could have done whatever possibly made them better, but who knows? What if they don't? And he has a 7 ERA and they think about DFAing him in May.
Right. Well, then that all could have potentially happened. So again, to me, that's why I gave the bonus points. He eliminated that possibility. I'm going to do it now and not have to worry about it. And he was still able in doing that to pull this off.
Weirdly enough, this is one that he traded at the right time because he got the right package.
Yeah. And it's shocking that he got the right
package.
This
was the one that we thought do not trade yet.
I just want to say this. The more it went, the more I still was on board in doing it. I just didn't expect this type of package. This package in doing so blew me away. But I almost felt like I would take 30 cents on the dollar right now to make sure I got that 30 cents. I hate to do it to him, but I wasn't a believer. I was legit worried he's not going to come back and be a good pitcher.
It's fair, but I was on board with
if he was maybe a bullpen guy
until I saw the package.
So to me, it's an A. It's a flat out A. Could get worse, could go better as we progress, but even right now, it's an A for me. Okay, so that was basically like the offseason trades, and again with the Taillon deal, you saw like I think now at this point, it was done. We knew exactly what Cherington's doing here. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff with upside. All these guys had a lot of upside. Well, actually, the one guy who didn't was Contreras. That was like the one guy. It's like,
Wilcrow.
No, I meant in the Taillon deal.
Oh, okay.
The funny part about it, he's the best prospect, right? But in the Taillon deal, he was like the one guy that wasn't as intriguing. Like everyone had all these.
He could be a reliever.
All these things, right? Like Escotto and Cannon Smith, and then again like and Contreras was just like kind of there. Like he's on the prospect list. Maybe he'll be like a 4 or 5 starter. He'll just do his thing and get
probably
there.
A reliever,
but he's not exciting. And we have a whole day dedicated to him now.
Yeah.
So boy, were we off. But yeah, so that's great. So that's the off season. We kind of know the plan. So I guess we fast forward to the trade deadline. Kick it off. I know you want to talk about your boy here, so. This is where you get to talk about
Adam Frazier.
Yeah, we can talk about.
Was Frazier the first trade of the deadline?
Yeah, wasn't he? The Padres once again.
I think he was.
Also, that was a Sunday.
Good grief! I believe I was at the bar for this one too. I don't quite remember. It
was like right after the game.
This is the trade that no matter what, the overly optimistic Pirates fans aren't going to gripe Cherington about, mainly because what we've seen from Adam Frazier, which has been the Adam Frazier that we've all known.
Mm-hmm.
He's meh. Jim's truthfully the guy to talk to about this, but we are not Marcano guys. If your highlight package is a bunch of bunts and beating out infield grounders, you're not a future cornerstone of any franchise ever. There's not enough pop in that bat. He's fast, cool. He's just not. He's Cole Tucker. I'll just steal Jim's line. I'm not going to use the first name he uses, but he's Cole Tucker.
I'll say it because it started with me, and I find it actually really funny right now. But it actually is. It's the perfect name for him. So this was like maybe 2 weeks ago, and we were talking in our chat, of course. And I was like, is basically Marcano a lighter version of Cole Tucker? And autocorrect got me, and it put Coke Tucker. And I was like, oh, I meant, Cole. And then Jim comes back, responds, and goes, actually, Coke's probably the perfect name. Like it's Tucker on Coke. He's even frailer and lighter. And that's what he is. He's Cole Tucker, but even worse. And that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's. You know what I almost wish he would just do is just go full on D Gordon and just become a pure slap hitter and try to like be a league average hitter based upon his speed.
Sure. But what's funny is he doesn't even utilize his speed in that way.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He has a speed, but it doesn't show up in his game, at least on the base pass.
Yeah, he's a guy that I just want to eliminate all launch angle from and just slap it to third base to try to beat it out.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's just slap bunting.
No, he's bunting the second. He's slap bunting.
Right.
And he's hitting 220.
Right. Okay. So let's go at the time of the trade. When this happened. I didn't like it, but I gave the benefit of the doubt because it's one of those things where I'll kind of live by in that sense. I mean, Ben Cherington knows more about baseball than I do. And Ben Cherington wanted him. As we found out, right? Let's rewind, back to the Musgrove deal. He wanted him in that deal and didn't get him. So now he finally got his guy. I just based on these things that I'm seeing from him, but you wanted him, you got the guy. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So there's a little bit of points. Sawinski's involved. There's some intrigue there. Like he's got some pop. He's had a fantastic year this year, which came out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere, right? There's no track record. It came out of nowhere, so you question a little bit. But the year that he had was really, really, really good. So maybe there's a little bit. Maybe he's a fourth outfielder, right? Platoon guy, something. And I'm not going to name the next guy because he's never going to make it. All right, I won't disrespect him that much. I also knock because I still don't know if it's Mitchell, if it's Michelle, if it's Mitchell, I don't know. But Miliano sounds very Italian as well. I don't know my Pisons. I
had that pizza last week.
He's not going to make it. So yes, with Sawinski, he's a little bit of intriguing, but it's not as if he's going to be like an everyday player for the majors, likely at all, right? He's intriguing in the sense that maybe he could be a platoon guy or a fourth outfielder. Who knows? But the bat's a little bit intriguing because it's really, really good this year. But back to Marcano. We've now seen Marcano. The trade's gone. Now we get to revisit this and talk about this, right? Our end of year review. Yeah. What are you giving this trade for Adam Frazier?
Before I give the trade or the grade,
okay,
it makes me question, what are these prospect rankings seeing? Like, what are we missing here, DiNardo? What?
Well,
he hasn't performed.
I guess,
other than the fact that he jumped from A-ball to the majors for the Padres, and he got sent right back down.
Yeah,
because he wasn't good.
He made the jump kind of in desperation of need. He got sent back down. Still didn't really perform. But what I find funny, and we talked about at the deadline,
it's like Alan
you say,
Hansen.
what are these prospect rankings seeing? Well, Fangraphs pretty much hated him. And everyone else, I'm not going to say loved him, but had him ranked, up there, like top 5, top 7, in system, especially the Padres, right? So I'm not going to say loved, but they definitely respected him.
They had him at least a 50 future value.
Okay, right.
Fangraphs did not.
Fangraphs nailed this, in my mind.
Yeah,
because he came over and he's playing, and we're seeing it. And any highlight you saw of him was because he slap bunted.
Yeah,
that's your highlight reel.
Yeah,
you're a trickster. You're not a baseball player.
And you're a trickster that really, from what we've seen, isn't going to be able to play shortstop.
Yeah. I don't know.
So you're gonna be a slap hitting second baseman. Cool.
D. Gordon.
Exactly. How about let's start hitting like D. Gordon?
Yeah, but the good one before he was strange.
Right. So I got to go back to a C- on this one. I don't want to completely roll it out just because I don't want to end up being completely wrong just because everyone else sees something in him that I'm just not seeing.
Wow. So and let's backpack.
Also, Adam Frazier, I know we tried to roll that out. He sucked.
Well,
and
that's what I was just going to mention here. Get back to the point of we can't evaluate what happened after. He has been terrible with the Padres.
We can't evaluate what has happened before, and before he was basically just average.
No. Maybe before this year?
Before this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I fully get that.
Everybody was buying as high as possible on him.
Yes. To me, and I said this during the season, right? Joe Musgrove, a bit of an exception. I was like, but it's funny. You look, Cherington traded Town when he did. He traded Bell when he did. And this, of course, when Bell was started off really, really bad in the season, right? Bell when he did, he traded off all these guys and he hung on to Frazier. And look at the season Frazier's having. I was like, wow, what a win. But he didn't capitalize on it. He didn't capitalize. I know he's been terrible for the Padres now. But the guy was basically a 3 to 4 win player up until that point with the Pirates.
Yeah.
And Ben traded him. And what I'm seeing for the package before, what I'm seeing afterwards, I give this a D. A straight D. Because it's bad. And I'm sorry. We said also, we want to talk about saying things. The Clay Holmes trade could be better than this one. Now, there's still some reservations on it. But do you think Diego Castillo is better than Marcano? Do you have more faith in Castillo than Marcano?
I think he's shown a better hit tool.
To me, you talk about Andy Rodriguez making the Musgrove trade. To me, that's these two trades. If Diego Castillo is better than Marcano, the Clay Holmes trade was better than Adam Frazier. That's where we're at. And we saw the deals that were happening at the deadline. Teams were willing to trade prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Frazier was one of the first guys dealt at the deadline. I don't know if that worked out against him. Should he have waited? Would there have been better packages? I don't really know if that played any part in this. But when that deal happened, it was kind of well, okay. I mean, it is also just Adam Frazier. We get that he's playing out of his mind right now. You have to take into some consideration about previous seasons. But then afterwards, when we started seeing what other guys are being traded for, that's when I started getting a bad taste in my mouth. And now that it's all over with, and we see really the guys, this is a D.
I think that's an absolutely fair grade. It's just something we could look at the offseason and see our prospect rankings, and Marcano could be out of the top 10. And that's when this thing moves to almost an F for me.
How could he stay in the top 10? I'm
How was he ever in the top 5?
I get that. But that's where I'm at like now. It's like, so how do you he was in top 5. How do you justify him staying there after this year? That's kind of where I'm at.
I don't think
great.
I
You
don't
had
think
a
he's a top
lost
10 prospect
season
anymore.
So it was still a lot of tools. It was a lot of this is what we thought of him before, whatever. But now that you've seen this whole season now, I just how could you?
I mean, all we heard was from everyone was he's a younger Adam Frazier. No, he's not. He can't hit.
No, he's a lighter Cole Tucker. People were happy because they got the younger Adam Frazier, but in reality, what you got was a worse Cole Tucker. And you see Cole Tucker, and this might be his last week as a Pirate.
Yeah. Oh, I hope.
So the only reason it is a D for me is just for the fact that, like you said, maybe Marcano's just going to bloom, but I still don't believe in the tools. Like, what's he going to bloom into? Like you said, he's going to bloom. We're hoping he blooms into D Gordon. So that means that the Pirates might have 2 years of success with him, and then he becomes this bad player because he's a trickster and they figure him out. I'm not high on this at all. It's not average. And how are people excited about it next year?
I don't know.
How's he add to the excitement of 2022?
I don't know that he comes up until at least June. It would take an injury to come up in June. Because I think there are way too many better options that will be at the same level.
The other thing to that too, Tyler, oddly enough, right? This is something you've really never heard during Huntington's tenure. This organization is loaded with middle infield. That you say it's going to take an injury. He's probably way down that pecking order.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if he comes up, let's say May, the only reason he's coming up is because they're super twoing O'Neal Cruz. Or they don't want to call up Diego Castillo yet, or whatever it may be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I still think you have other options you can do.
I think Castillo is the guy that comes up first.
Rodolfo Castro, Castillo. Well, I mean, he's already been up here,
Castillo, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm talking if they need someone to play short.
Oh, okay. That's fair. All right.
But there's a lot to be done. They could sign a shortstop, which would be pretty stupid, to be honest with you at this point. I'd rather just go in the next year with Kevin Newman and let our 1,000 middle infielders that might not be good battle it out.
I don't have a real argument for that.
There are too many guys in the minors that can play shortstop that you can call up.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't want to settle for Newman, but at the same time, like you're getting, our shortstop's probably in the organization and coming soon, hopefully. So then why that's probably not the piece that you want to fill in free agency. So I get that. I don't know maybe some stopgap. I don't know. I guess I would be. See, I feel dirty saying I'm okay with Newman coming next year.
I know, but I'm okay with Newman. Defense has been fine. I think he's going to hit better. I don't know why, but I think he can't hit worse.
So next deal, Tyler Anderson, the second one, not with the Phillies, but with the Mariners. Carter Benz, Joaquin Tejada.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna give it. I'm coming with the grade right away. This is a C. I don't know anything really about most these two minor leaguers other than Carter Benz is high strikeout, high walk. Tejada's
he's been
way down there that he's so far away. It's not really.
Yeah.
I think a C might be generous. It probably should be a C minus just because they probably should have just hung on to Anderson to eat some innings. But either way, whatever.
So I'll make my case, which will be very short. Make the trade. I'm not the one. I'm not going to keep him to end this year. To me, why? For even the small chance that Carter Benz or Tejada pan out, to me that's worth it because who cares about the innings this year? You got them. You know, like the year's over. You got them. You're going to get them out of whomever, however. You got them. Okay. But what I will say, the time that we talked about the trade, I thought the Phillies was better. You know, I think you and I are on the board with that. And yeah, again, it's Tyler Anderson. It's a half season of him. You're not going to get a whole lot. But Carter Benz has been just terrible in AA with Seattle and the Pirates. And granted, it's not a whole lot of sample size on, you know, both sides of it, but he has been terrible in AA. Tejada's way too young. None of us know what he's going to be. So there's kind of a little bit of incomplete with me as well. That's why I'm going to go C minus instead of D plus also because let's find out what's out of his. But
it's just kind of there.
But Tejada was the piece that I was worried on. Like to me, that's why I like the Phillies pitcher better than Tejada.
Yeah.
So again, he's still unknown, but Tejada was the one that was like, I mean, what do I know? But I was kind of intrigued about the Phillies one. So yeah, I'm going C minus here as well. This isn't doing too well, Tyler.
No.
A lot of C's,
Not at
D's.
all.
We got a B and an A in there with Tyone, but this isn't trending well.
No, we are trending. If this is a bad off season, this might be an anti Ben Cherington podcast. I don't want to be.
It's tough,
but I might not have a choice.
It's tough. I'll say my thoughts when we wrap up everything.
I tried to be positive. Well, okay, that's fine.
Clay Holmes, we can keep that short and sweet.
Yeah,
but I'll say something kind of funny to it. But yeah, Clay Holmes was traded apparently to the Yankees, right? You got Park, you got Castillo. Loved it at the time. I mean, you got anybody, you loved it. I still like it, but I think we found out right now Park might not be as intriguing as we thought.
No, Castillo is the more intriguing option that we all ignored.
Yes, but Castillo also was on the prospect lists. You know, like he was actually a true prospect, where Park was kind of like the Zawinski thing. He was the guy who just kind of showed up this year and was blowing everyone away. So you pick up on that intrigue, you find out what he has. So far, we're finding out in PNC Park, he's probably not a major leaguer. But it's okay.
Yeah, a good chance he's not on the team next year.
Yeah, but it's okay. You wanted to give him every opportunity. That's why from the day the trade was made, it was like, he better be in PNC Park. And he pretty much was. It was like a few days afterwards, right? Whatever. He pretty much was. You got, albeit small, enough sample size to see something out of him. I'm okay with not protecting him. Am I worried that another team will pick him up? I don't really think so. They might. And if they do, I'm okay with it at this point.
Yeah.
Diego Castillo, though. Ty.
Intrigued.
Very intrigued.
He's my new shiny toy.
Uh-oh.
Like Hoy Park was a shiny toy.
Yes.
Now it's Diego.
So he's up there on the Tyler list of shiny toys.
He is shiny.
Very nice. He is shiny.
However,
yeah.
Clay Holmes decided he was going to turn into an actual decent pitcher.
Right.
But whatever.
How bad did, I mean, let's be honest, even myself, how bad did everyone in Pittsburgh troll the Yankees for that deal?
Bad. Oh, I did too.
And
laugh my way.
Clay Holmes has been fantastic there.
Yeah, he's been very good.
His walks are completely down. strikeout. Like everything else is still there, but like what's different is that he was walking like 5 per 9. Now it's like 1 point something, I believe.
It's pitching very well.
Incredible. The fun fact I was going to put up there. We talked about one of the prospects, right? David Bednar. David Bednar has looked really, really good. The potential closer, David Bednar. 1.3 WAR, David Bednar. Do you know what Clay Holmes' WAR is right now, according to Fangraphs?
Probably like 0.6, 0.7.
1.3. He and David Bednar have now. Let me present this.
Fangraphs.
I don't like WAR for relief pitchers. Right? Like that's not a great indicator. To me, it's more fun. This is a fun fact, right? David Bednar and Clay Holmes have the same Fangraphs, right? Same F4 right now at 1.3.
Which has absolutely nothing to do with results. But
No, right? But again, it's funny. But what I think that does, what that does show is actually how well he's done in New York. He has. I give it to him. So, you know what? The Yankees got what they needed out of Clay Holmes. So good for them. For the Pirates, I don't think Park is going to be anything. Diego Castillo definitely has that intrigue with him. And right, like he went to AAA and just performed even better. So I like that shiny toy that you mentioned as well. I'm very intrigued. What's your grade on this?
I'll give this one a B minus still.
B minus?
I was going to go C plus, but Diego is still intriguing. It's more of an indictment that they couldn't figure it out with Clay Holmes because apparently it is in there. And it's another indictment on Oscar Marine.
That's fair.
Because once again, nobody's gotten better under him.
This podcast
I don't have 2 hours.
Is going to be a anti-Oscar Marine before it turns into the anti-Ben Cherington. I can guarantee you that part. You know what? I didn't look at that aspect though. That's very, very fair. I was going to give this a B. At the time of the trade, it was an A plus. A plus done. Yeah. It's an A plus.
They got 2 living, breathing human beings out of Clay Holmes.
Right. Now I temper it to a B for the fact that I think Park we see it's not there. Castillo is a legit prospect, and he's doing legit prospect things. So there's definitely an intrigue there. I was hedging a little bit to the fact that so maybe I was too harsh on Clay Holmes. Okay. Someone put me in check, and I still was like, well, that's dumb. You're dumb for saying it. But maybe I was a little too harsh. You know, what I was put in check with is, well, Clay Holmes actually, when you take out these 3 starts, which I said, we're just gonna let's just pick out any 3 starts at anyone, and you can make them look good, right? Yeah. But it was like if you pick out these 3 starts, which is like I think 2 against Milwaukee and 1 whatever, like he's been a really, really good pitcher. You know, my response was, we're not taking out starts. Like I'm not taking out outings. You know what I mean? No. Like they count. And of course you're taking out the good teams, and all the other teams are terrible because he plays in the NL Central, and literally every other team is terrible. I was like, he's going into AL East now. Everyone's a Milwaukee.
And it didn't start well there either.
It didn't, but it quickly changed. I mean, I think maybe the first 3 was, if anything, and then after that, it just been lights out.
Right.
But I was okay. Whoever that was, and I forgot the interaction. And if you listen to the show, you probably don't. But if you listen to the show, I'm talking to you. I take it back. All right. So, and what you said, Tyler, maybe that puts it more in perspective. Maybe it is more of an indictment of how couldn't they get more out of Clay Holmes? Because, okay, fine. You take out those 3 outings. He was good. And when he goes to New York, he still was really good. He's even better than he was in all the starts. I keep saying starts. All the appearances minus those 3. So I give it a B just for the fact that it is what it is. It's still a reliever, and you're having a middle infielder.
Exactly.
It's still a B. To me, I still like
productive middle infielder for a reliever.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that's why I do give it a B.
I'm with you. B minus. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then what other deal do we have? Rich Rod.
Chavis. Rich Rod.
Oh yeah, Chavis. Okay, we'll do Chavis first.
Chavis is a C for me. It's just nothing.
it's a wash. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
I at the time I was even like, why?
They traded a body for a body.
Yeah, like he showed some fun stuff, but he's been injured and he hasn't really been able to really play this year. So it's a wash. It's a C. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Then let's move
it's
over.
a body for a body.
Let's move over to Rich Rod.
I kind of forgot about this one.
Hey, this is Jim's boy, Bryce Wilson.
Yeah, who has not pitched well lately.
He hasn't. Rich Rod
However,
was. Rich Rod also really hasn't. The Braves.
No.
But again, we're not going to grade afterwards.
Right. So this is a trade that I'm just looking at Bryce Wilson for Rich Rod. I don't even remember the name of the other guy.
I don't.
You don't either.
Anticipate anything of that other guy too. So
yeah, I think this one's anytime you can trade a reliever for a starting pitcher that isn't awful. I don't think Bryce Wilson is awful. There's more to be had there, hopefully. I mean, I'll just go straight grade. I'm going to give it like a C plus because Bryce Wilson, I don't think you see anything more than a 4 or 5 starter, maybe an inning seater, but he's young enough. He's fine. It's a little above average. Did I hope they could get more out of Rich Rod? Yeah, but it is what it is.
I might have been more down on this trade than all of you. Definitely Jim. Jim kind of liked it. And maybe that's why I'm more down. I'm giving it just a C. And I think the only reason it is even a C is just because it is the reliever for starter. Like it's a reliever who's older, you know, and it's a starter who's younger and a lot more control. So like just in that self, there's more value on the Pirate side. And that's why I give it a C, because there wasn't a whole lot that really made me like Bryce Wilson to begin with when the deal happened. Since he's come over, it's just meh. Like I'm not going to say he's Will Crow, but to me, he's like a shade above Will Crow.
Yeah, I don't.
There's maybe more intriguing stuff. Like Will Crow, there's really not much intriguing. But
it's like a right-handed Tyler Anderson.
But he's not also.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of like a good comp. Like, God, I don't know. He's just kind of there.
Like I get he's still young to a degree, you know, like he's 23. He started in the majors young. Like he reached the majors at a very young age, 20 years old.
He's almost like Trevor Williams without the luck.
Gee, I like Trevor was also just like weird. Yeah. And he's a weird bit. So maybe he's like a Trevor Williams with more intriguing stuff, but so far not the results that Trevor had.
I know. I'm trying to
like it's weird because like I feel like he has better stuff than Trevor, but we're hoping for him to become Trevor.
Yeah, it's not showing. Like he's not getting swing and miss.
Right. Yeah, I mean he's not striking out anyone. In this day,
you had it. He's pretty much Will Crow with a little more intrigue. Like better stuff than Will Crow. Probably could stick in a rotation better, but result wise, he's not going to blow you away.
Right.
He's a guy.
And I guess this kind of goes back to what I was saying in the sense of when you were seeing what other teams were getting. Not that everyone was given like, you know, top 100 prospects. And I also get like what the Dodgers got in return for their guys. And when you get Max Scherzer and you get Trey Turner, of course you're giving up top prospects. But teams were willing to deal. I'm not much of a Bryce Wilson believer either. You know, to me, it's like, it's a C. I know he's a starter. He can be here.
Yeah.
But is he really going to be here? Like when you are in your winning years, are you really depending and relying on Bryce Wilson?
He's kind of a rotation filler right now.
So, yeah, it's a C for me.
I don't even know how to describe him at this point because he doesn't get swing and miss. He doesn't blow you away. Results don't blow you away.
But you see something there. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
like, you do see something there.
But he's not like frustrating like Charlie Morton used to be, where you'd see the stuff.
Well, right. And I think that's the thing too. Like, because it
doesn't jump off a page, but you're
Right.
like, yeah, this guy could maybe be like an innings. Like, he could be a number 3, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in flashes.
That's fair. Like, could he be a number 3 starter?
That's ceiling for him.
I think absolute ceiling. Like, that might be pushing it, but
It probably is.
you see stuff in there that could lead to that. Is like, what we're getting at. But the results are Will Crow.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating part.
Meh.
Like, that's the
It's
frustrating
pretty
part.
much. He's pretty much meh.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up the trades. Now, it's still a year in review. There's more than just trades. There were signings. I mean, he did sign Tyler Anderson. We did like the deal. And then, of course, you did end up getting Carter Benz and DiNardo for it, for whatever that means. The idea worked out. The execution on it, it's just, to me, again, like it's whatever. It's man. We'll find out, but not too excited or thrilled. The only other like real signing, an addition, which might not even be in the future, is Yoshi. Like, that kind of worked out. That really worked out.
I mean, you sign enough first baseman with. He didn't sign any with power, but
Right.
you pick up enough first baseman, one of them's bound to work out, right?
I guess. That's a good way of putting it. I mean,
You
there was only about 78 players that stood up for the Pittsburgh Pirates this year. One
Right.
of them's got to work out.
But yeah, I hope they. I just, like I said last week, re-sign him, pay him whatever market value is, just so I don't have to watch him go hit 40 bombs for the Rays.
I'm for it. But Tyler, did you not see your boy tonight, Colin Moran, and that blast he had?
I saw it. Yes. Don't care.
I know.
That
It's one of those. The thing
did
is,
that put him ahead of Yoshi by 2?
no, I would rather have Yoshi. But
No, I mean home run wise.
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. No, I still, just put it in that perspective, I still would rather have Yoshi than Colin Moran next year because of the intrigue in that. But the thing is, that's kind of frustrating, and that's why I think a lot of people hang on to Colin, like myself. It's because you see that ball hit tonight, you're like, it's there, and he hasn't gotten the greatest benefits. Like, he's gotten kind of the short end of the stick a bit because of injuries and such. I wish he would have had a full season this year coming off of last year to show and see what he has, because you see some of these glimpses now that he didn't really show you before. You're like,
I'm
wow,
just not a believer anymore.
he can hit second deck power.
It's that the power is there. I don't think the bat speed's there. I don't think he can catch up to the heat. I would like to look more into it, but haven't done that yet. I'm assuming most of his home runs are not on like 95 miles an hour plus. I don't know that he has the bat speed to be able to really take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just wanted to point out, though. I mean, just when you start writing off Colin Moran, he comes out and does something like that and totally redeems himself. No, but yeah, Yoshi, I guess, would be the other. And again, like, it wasn't. I mean, two highly pedigree teams gave up on Yoshi. The Pirates just picked them up because, I mean, at that time it was Nagowski who was failing. So who's next man up? Yoshi was available. Let's go ahead and get him some intrigue, and he really panned out. I mean, that pretty much sums up like the season in review for Ben Cherington for the most part.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more season in review coming up.
Oh yeah, well, we'll have an off season that we get the live review coming up. Hopefully, hopefully,
just
actual
wait for some
things to happen. So
wait for the Derek Shelton review.
I think the listeners already know. All right, so we've broken down these things individually. Okay, What we didn't do, right? We talked about all these transactions and such. We talked about this a lot. All right. It would be unfair if we didn't bring it up right now, though, as well. We're doing a review. It's also a big portion of this organization. We do have the draft. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've graded all the individual transactions. Let's do the draft as a whole once again. So Ben Cherington goes in there. We don't need to talk about it. Everyone who's listening definitely knows what happened in the draft. What's your grade on the draft? And maybe a little bit of insight.
You know what? I'm gonna give. I'm gonna give it a B plus because I don't want to give it an A.
Why
Just
not?
because they're so. I think there's a lot of obviously there's a lot of unknown, but also I think there's a lot of high upside guys, but very, very low floors. Like Bubba Chandler's very low floor. Lonnie White, very low floor. However, what did I give it, a B plus?
I think you said a B.
B plus.
Okay.
Mainly because it would have been a B, but he was able to sign basically all these guys. But we saw Solomedo. God, there's an Italian name I don't know how to pronounce. That
Works for
delivery
me.
is a little quirky, huh?
Yes.
I think when you look at drafts, you got to look at, can you get basically one regular, one part-timer, and I think you had a good draft. And I think they at least got their regular player with Henry Davis with the upside to make this a very, very good draft. It's just that it's so high risk, but that's why I kind of like it. So now we're at the point where it comes down to development, and that's where I really, really question everything. And I can't take it to an A yet because I have been way too overhyped with Cherington the first, 6 months this offseason after the Tyon trade, where I was trying to get on board with them. I can just stick with my gut and know that it's not always rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah. Okay.
You're gonna give it an A.
I'll put this. I respect that. That's a very good way of putting it because you're right. Like, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of talk. Ben nailed this draft and what he did. But with all the good things that's being said about those players, come with the same negative things. Everything we talk about Hudson Head, right? There's a lot of tools in Hudson Head. Hudson Head was essentially these guys.
Yeah.
At time of draft, right? When Hudson Head gets drafted, you're talking about him the same way we're talking about Bubba Chandler right now.
Mm-hmm.
We could be talking about Bubba Chandler in a few years the way we're talking about Hudson Head right now. I just already said I'm writing him off as a prospect. This Musgrove deal is terrible, right? That could be Bubba Chandler. So I fully respect where you're coming from, right? Absolutely, because all these guys could just be nothing. But I guess where I'm coming from... Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, there's a good chance they are nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Major League Baseball draft. You're going to be lucky to get one major leaguer.
The odds are that they will be nothing, right?
Yeah. We need to hope that we got some trade chips out of this.
So that is why I do stick and still stay with my A. You're right. I'm giving it the A, Tyler. Just because the fact that they got that many, right? So I get Hudson Head, that comparison, which is, you're right, like Chandler could be Hudson Head, and you write him off, and that's nothing. But there's also 3 more of them in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
So you need 1 out of 4 Hudson Heads to pan out. Do you give Hudson Head a 25% chance? That's kind of where I'm at, in a way, facetiously, but there's so much upside to them that we talk about hedging the bets. He was able to get 4 of those guys. You're lucky to get 1 of those guys in the draft. He got 4. So hedge the bet there. The thing about with Henry is I do believe he does come with a high floor. Like he will be a hitter in MLB. We're not sure if it's going to be a catcher. Probably won't be a catcher, but he will be a hitter. And him not being a catcher lowers his value a bit. Like if he's a catcher of that hit tool, he could be a really good player, right? But if he's just a first baseman, he might just end up being another first baseman. So I think he does come with a high floor. The ceiling is limited. That's where the other guys come in with their higher ceilings and such potentially. But I do give it an A because to me, regardless of all that, like he nailed that draft. Now, the only way to nail it the way he did would have to come with a lot of luck as well. So, I mean, he got lucky as hell. I mean, you figure he passed on Bubba Chandler twice. No way you thought he was still signing him, and he did. So, he got lucky, but he did execute it. So, I will give him that. I give him the A for the draft because that draft was just, I mean, it's just amazing. You sit back in awe to realize that happened.
Yeah, it's definitely like an A+ in execution of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But I just mentally I have a hard time giving an A on a draft for Major League Baseball because how many times have we done this with the Pirates where they nail a draft? It sucked.
So put it this way, okay? Because the way I look at it, we could be 5 years from now ranking this draft and you could give it an F.
Good chance.
But the only knowledge you have of the draft is the knowledge of right now. It's kind of like with the trades. You know, the only knowledge you had was then and there. But now we have revisionary and we can go back and redo the trade, right? Like with the Tyone, it was good, but now we're like, oh, well, it was great. So right now, this time of the information I have, I look at it as an A. We could, of course, revisit it and be like, well, Henry was a bust, you know, and all these guys never made it past A ball, and this draft was terrible. But what they have right now, I do give it an A. And those are my reasons. And because and that's the thing too, it's at the MLB draft. Literally every team is that way. Like every draft, no one knows what the hell you have. Unless it's like Steven Strasburg, you know, or Bryce Harper or such. After that, like anyone could go anywhere. So that is why I still do give it the A, but I understand where you're coming from with the B because of the draft and there's so much unknown. B+. So I can respect that.
Could have been an A-. I just don't want to give an A.
All right. So, wow, this has been longer than I anticipated.
Yes, it has.
All right. So now let's give Ben the overall grade. What do you give him for his 2021 end of year grade?
You know what? I'm going to give him a C+. And the only reason this ends up above average is because of the draft. Because if he has a bad draft, let's say he goes and signs one of the shortstops for above slot, ends up drafting a bunch of like crappy college hitters, and in order to sign them, this could be a C- D+.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, we're looking at a good draft. And it's definitely filled out the farm system. So
you nailed that. You nailed that grade because pretty much this entire time we've always been like a half a grade. It's always been like D+, C-, C+, B-. You know, I'm giving it a B-. It's the exact same reasons though. That's
fair.
What you said about the Tyone being his saving grace in those trades, the draft was his saving grace for 2021. When you look at all those trades that he made, I mean, I'm not going to figure out, but I feel like they all kind of average out to a C. The Tyone was a saving grace, which bumped everything up. Like without the Tyone trade, I think it's like a C-.
Mm-hmm.
I just based on what we have so far, I don't know if I trust him in trades, but he nailed the hell out of that draft, Tyler. He nailed the hell out of that draft.
You could even go back to last year. It looks like he had a decent draft last year as well.
Yeah. That one was kind of odder, and I do say Gonzalez did fall in his lap.
He did, but he took him.
I know. Like you can't fault him.
You can only take who's there.
Right. You can't fault him because he did and he took him. So I get that, but they helped him out. You know, they helped him by letting him fall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think again, like this draft really, really was a saving grace for the whole year as well. The trades don't look great.
No.
Now, mind you, the trades are for rebuilding attempt. Not too pleased overall. Not too pleased overall. The draft is good. We haven't really seen what he's going to do as far as like real free agents, and we don't know what he's going to do as far as trades to get like real players. Like you mentioned, and you're right. That's why I brought up too. Like, not all these players are going to be players. There's a lot of trade chips here. Like, what you're doing also is you're not just acquiring talent to play, but you're acquiring talent to trade, right? To get other pieces. So that's still left to be unknown. But I give him a B- solely on that draft. I do have a slightly down morale about him than this offseason, previous before. I was a believer in him. I was still patiently waiting. You know, I wasn't, as some people around town were, oh my God, Ben Cherington, right? I liked what I saw, but I was still being very patient in it. And as of right now, I don't hate him. I don't think he's terrible. But this is a big offseason for him. This is a big offseason for him.
Yeah. This is going to choose a direction. I'm excited. That's why I want the season to end.
I might be excited. Hopefully I'm excited. All right. So I think that kind of wraps us up finally.
Yeah.
Any last words you want to say?
I got to go to bed, DiNardo. It's 12:30.
Imagine going to bed at 12:30. All right.
Some people have to work.
Go to bed, Tyler. Everyone listening, thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think about Ben, the year, and everything we talked about, because I'm interested in hearing.
I feel like it's very polarizing right now.
It is. It is. You hear a lot of really, really good stuff. You hear negative. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm
leaning more negative right now, but
I think I'm flat middle. I'm not leaning negative, but I'm definitely not as positive as I was. That's for sure.
I would slightly lean negative if it weren't for the draft is, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm more optimistic than I was after Neil Huntington's first draft. Let's put it that way. Or second draft.
Okay. The draft in itself, just the draft itself? Or overall?
Just after, well, I guess, I was pretty positive about Neil Huntington his first few years because it looked like he was doing everything correctly. And that turned into shit. And then it turned into good. Then it turned into shit.
Yeah, we also traded. He also like completely changed his MO.
Yeah.
Which was weird, but all right. Yeah. Well, let us know your thoughts. And I guess we will talk to you guys later then. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.